I knew I was going to mess it up. Welcome back, everybody. We are here to talk today about Grant Cardone, the internet's most famous Scientologist, fake billionaire, fraudster, con man, grifter, liar. It's been a little while since we've talked about Grant Cardone, or as he self-identifies, Uncle G. Why does he call himself Uncle G? Nobody really knows. Everybody's got a creepy uncle, I guess. Might as well be Grant Cardone. All right, the last time we were talking about Grant Cardone, oh, you know what? It would be nice if I could actually get this figured out. Thank you so much. The last time we were talking about Grant Cardone, it is because he had filed a $100 million defamation suit against John Legere, the famous, the legendary former CEO of T-Mobile, recognizable and famous from all the T-Mobile commercials that he personally appeared in, wearing the pink T-Mobile merchandise everywhere. John Legere is a legend and also much closer to being an actual billionaire than Grant Cardone could ever hope. Okay, so that's fine. He filed the lawsuit. But the thing is, when Grant Cardone filed this lawsuit, he said that this lawsuit was basically a warning shot. This was a warning to all the haters and the clickbaiters and the YouTubers and the bloggers who make a quick buck and a click and a view off of his name and trashing his name and dragging his reputation through the mud. And gosh darn it, he wasn't going to stand for it anymore. It's about time someone took a stand for the little guy, the fake billionaires of the internet. In fact, Uncle G appeared on a podcast called the Clever Investor Podcast to talk about the lawsuit, the importance of the lawsuit, and what he was doing it for, to take a stand. Now, why the world's most famous Scientologist and fake billionaire appeared on a podcast, the episode of which has received less than 8,000 views, is anyone's guess. But you know what, guys? I wanted to share with you just 30 seconds of Grant's thoughts on how the lawsuit's really for the little guy. And Grant shares with you his thoughts on these despicable channels and how they're doomed to failure. And nobody would ever want to support or sponsor these channels because they're just based purely on hate. Check this out, guys.
The point of this is, guys, you have to stand up for yourself. Okay. You don't want to give attention to people that are just doing it to get attention. So there's a fine line, right? Some of these people that you mentioned, I never talk about them because I never want to give them any attention because they're bottom feeders. They're completely, they will never do anything in their life. It's impossible. Nor will their audience ever monetize, nor will they ever have sponsorship because nobody's going to sponsor a channel that's filled with hate.
Guys, I'm thrilled to announce that Raycon wireless earbuds is the newest sponsor of SPTV. If you watch a lot of my videos and my interviews, you'll notice I never wear over-the-ear headphones. I never wear earbuds with a big stalk sticking out, and that's because this is what I use. And I don't only use them for YouTube. I keep one pair of these here where I live stream. I keep another pair in my gym bag for exercise because Raycon's earbuds are so affordable. You can get 2 pair of Raycons for less than what it costs to get 1 pair of some of the other big name tech brands. The Raycon earbuds is what I've been recommending to a lot of the new channels starting up. The 8 hours of playtime battery life and the noise isolation on these are 2 of my favorite things about them. Now that Raycon is a sponsor, you can use my link buyraycon.com/SPTV to get 15% off Raycon's already very affordable prices. One of the best ways to support your favorite channels is to support their sponsors, which is why I was thrilled when Raycon agreed to become a sponsor of SPTV. So click the link in the description down below or go to buyraycon.com/SPTV for 15% off your Raycon purchase. Yes! I have been waiting an entire month just for the opportunity to use Grant's little silly clip juxtaposed with a new sponsor. So there you go. Suck it, Grant. Suck a big one. Okay, so there the developments in the case in the lawsuit that we're actually going to get to is John Legere has filed his response, and it is a doozy. It is hilarious. It comes as no surprise that John Legere calls Grant Cardone out for this just being a pure publicity stunt. And not only did John Legere respond with basically a request to have the entire a motion to have the complaint dismissed, and we're going to go through it because the items are just too hilarious. But he also filed It says defendant John Legere's first set of requests for production. This is a request for production of records for discovery. This you guys got to see. Now, I'm going to take one other little tiny segue here, because one of the other people who have largely been exposing Grant Cardone as a fraud, a fake guru, a fake billionaire, a grifter, a liar, a con man, is one of YouTube's most loved and celebrated personalities, Coffeezilla. His name's Steven. His channel is Coffeezilla. He really is one of the most loved and respected people on YouTube. And his specialty is exposing frauds. He's one of my favorite channels. I've been watching him for years. The guy's absolutely amazing. Now, his main channel is Coffeezilla. He recently created a smaller channel called Voidzilla to do small little videos instead of his longer deep dives that he normally does. And he just a couple weeks ago did a video about Grant Cardone and his effort to sue people into silence. And he called Grant out for a thing that Grant does that actually makes it impossible for him to then go on and sue people for defamation, because, well, I'm going to let Coffeezilla explain this in his own words. Let me make sure I got it queued up here. 1 minute 45.
I was going to say, that's
okay,
why
good. I'm going to go backwards on this. And here we go. This is just a short clip, you guys, but check it out.
Grant Cardone actually made a call-out video from us from like a year ago. He calls out me and my fans. He says, everything. But I was really interested because I heard the first part of it. And I actually realized it kind of blows a hole in his idea to sue people like me, because he actually says that his haters drive him views. Well, why does that matter? Now, I actually think he was coping and seething in the video, but the reason this matters is because in order to do these lawsuits, you actually have to prove damages. And I don't know how you could prove damages when you say stuff like this.
Steven, man, look, big shout out, my friend. I want to give you a big shout out for sending me so much traffic, so many new clients, so many new customers. Bro, bruh. You're amazing. You're amazing. You pitch better than I do, bro. I'm serious. You're fucking the best.
Okay. Hey, how can, if they bring me to court, I'm going to go, Your Honor, and I'm going to play that clip. Bruh, you're the best. You pitch better than I do, bruh. And it's going to be the judge is going to throw it out. So
this is what Grant Cardone always does. He has so many detractors and critics online because he is a fraudster and a con man. He's also one of the primary fundraisers and supporters of the international multi-billion-dollar human trafficking cult known as Scientology. That his response to this is always, oh, I love the hate, because the haters, it drives all the attention and the eyeballs, and it actually, my business is 3x, 5x, 10x. It's like the Scientology defense that the hate is evidence that we're succeeding, and the hate just no such thing as bad press. Grant Cardone says this all the time. Well, Grant Cardone, if there's no such thing as bad press, and all the hate drives attention to you, and the attention drives sales, and the sales drives, expansion, then why is it that all of a sudden John Legere calling you a fraud and a con man and saying he thinks you're going to be in jail in the next year, why is it that all of a sudden that hurts your business? I don't know. It's anyone's guess. But here, so the first thing I'm going to show you, the first thing that I want to show you is John Legere's request for production of documents. This just had me rolling. And you better believe that Scientology gets dragged into this as well. All right, so we are going to scroll down to the actual items. The first section is all instructions on how these items are to be handled. Okay, John Legere is demanding that Grant Cardone produce all documents, including text messages, in-app messages, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, WhatsApp, Snapchat, any other application or social media posts you have sent or received concerning John Legere. All documents in which anyone has accused you of being a fraud, a con man, a con artist, a bullshit artist, a fake, engaging in fraud or deception, breaching a contract or fiduciary duty, committing a crime, falsehoods, front-running your investments, or theft. All documents in which you've accused anyone or anything of being a fraud, con, bullshit artist, scam, fake, con artist. All documents sufficient to show your membership and all of your monetary contributions to the Church of Scientology. All your communications with the Church of Scientology relating to this action, defamation claims, defendant John Legere, or public statements criticizing you. All documents concerning any health supplements you've taken, including but not limited to steroids or human growth hormone. By the way, did you guys know that Grant Cardone is actually an identical twin? Grant Cardone's identical twin is named Gary Cardone. Now, many people, when I bring this up, are like, no, they're not identical twins. They are identical twins. It's just that one of them takes a lot of steroids and HGH, and the other one doesn't. And so they no longer look anything like identical twins. Okay. You need to produce all documents relating to your consumption of alcohol or illegal drugs, including but not limited to your treatment for any addiction to alcohol or illegal drugs. Request for production of all documents concerning your views of individuals identifying as gay, lesbian, bisexual, or transgender. That would not go well for Grant. All documents concerning your interviews with Laura Trump, all documents concerning attempts to cast doubt on whether Joe Biden won the presidential election, efforts to undermine legitimacy of the election, the events of January 6th. Okay, that would be embarrassing for Cardone. Request for production of all documents concerning the Clubhouse social media platform or other similar social media platforms, and your decision to debate others on such platforms, including but not limited to any recordings of your conversations on the Clubhouse social media platform or similar media platforms. All documents supporting your statement that defendant John Legere is a bitch, uses drugs, or was intoxicated during debates on the Clubhouse media platform. All documents or communications evidencing or concerning any damages you claim to have suffered as a result of the conduct in the complaint, including calculations of the total amount of damages allegedly suffered by you and how such damages were calculated. Guys, this goes on for about 83 or 85 items. And I don't want to go through all of them, but some of these are so good here. And I'm going to include links to these documents in the description down below. Afterwards, this gets into some real inside baseball regarding his Cardone Capital Real Estate syndication business, where yep. So a lot of juicy stuff here, and yeah, okay, we won't go through all of it, but man, there was some stuff at the end of this thing that I remember seeing. Let me just quickly scroll through. You guys know how much I don't like dead air, but if I can find something. Oh, what's this? What's this? Request for production of all documents relating to, produced in, or created in response to any inquiries or investigations by any government agency about your compliance with or your potential violations of federal or state laws. For the avoidance of doubt, government agencies include, but are not limited to, the SEC, the DOJ, the Commodity Futures Trading Commission, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, the FBI, and the FTC. Now, it is a well-documented fact that I've covered on this channel that Grant Cardone's businesses were under close surveillance by the FBI after some whistleblowers in Miami went to the FBI with some insider documents. The FBI has not commented on anything that happened in that investigation, but Grant Cardone has never publicly acknowledged it, although he did actually slip and make reference to it in a podcast appearance that I meant to cover at the time, but then I forgot and I'll never find it again. But it was pretty interesting. All right, let's see here. I'm going to scroll as quickly as I can. Yeah, I'm not going to survive scrolling 30 more items. All right. Yeah. Okay. So the next document that I'm going to share with you is John Legere's actual motion to dismiss the complaint. And we'll just go through some of it because, man, I find it funny. Okay, a table of contents. It gets good here. Grant Cardone and his alleged fame. Mr. Legere and his purported relationship with Mr. Cardone. February tweets, March tweets, June tweets. Mr. Cardone files this lawsuit after unidentified third parties republished snippets from the June 2023 Clubhouse debate. My bad. That was me. I am the unidentified third party who published snippets of the Clubhouse debate. And I bear some responsibility for John Legere having to go through this harassing lawsuit from Grant Cardone. And I apologize for that, John. One of these days, I will make it up to you somehow. All right, so let's get down. Let's fast forward through this stuff and we'll get down to some of this stuff. All right. This defamation complaint is a publicity stunt that makes no effort to plead facts, satisfying any, let alone all elements of the claims. Grant Cardone, a self-described internet celebrity, brings defamation claims for over 40 statements John Legere allegedly made during their spirited debates on social media. Mr. Cardone fails to allege that Mr. Legere's statements were false, much less that Mr. Legere knew or had reason to believe they were false, nor could Cardone marshal such facts in the future because Mr. Legere's statements were opinions and hyperbole protected by the First Amendment. The complaint thus should be dismissed with prejudice for these and other reasons. Okay, first, even though a false statement, I don't want to, that legalese throws me off there. Mr. Cardone fails to allege that Mr. Legere made any false statements of fact. For example, Mr. Cardone alleges that Mr. Legere defamed him by suggesting that he may not be a billionaire, but pleads no facts showing that he is actually a billionaire. Many of Mr. Legere's statements are also incapable of being false because they are non-actionable hyperbole, opinions, predictions, and questions. In fact, courts have recently held that statements indistinguishable from Mr. Legere's, for example, calling the plaintiff a fraud, cannot be the basis for plaintiff's defamation claims because these statements are rhetorical hyperbole. Second, the complaint should be dismissed because Mr. Cardone, who claims to be a worldwide celebrity, is a public figure. And the First Amendment requires him to allege that Mr. Legere knew his statements about Mr. Cardone were false. Mr. Cardone alleges no such facts. Third, the complaint should be dismissed because it fails to adequately allege that Mr. Legere published his statements to any third party. Instead, Mr. Cardone alleges that Mr. Legere made his statements on social media where others could read or hear them, but he identifies no third party who actually read or heard them. And this next, the fourth item here speaks to what Coffeezilla said. 4, Mr. Cardone's claims fail because the complaint is devoid of allegations of actual employment loss or realized loss attributable to Mr. Legere's statements. Even the complaint's conclusory allegations of supposed damages fail. These allegations refer to a republication of Mr. Legere's statements, and Florida law does not recognize defamation claims based on third-party republication. Isn't that amazing? Isn't that amazing? And also, it's kind of, I don't know, it's probably not relevant to the pleading here, but the fact that Grant then went on a bunch of other podcasts and said that the other thing, or the main thing he was really hoping to accomplish by bringing this lawsuit, was to prevent YouTubers and bloggers from being able to put titles on their videos like "Con Man Grant Cardone." Like, he actually has publicly said that's actually the reason he's bringing this lawsuit, and not just specifically because of damages sustained from John Legere's accusations that he's a con man, a fraudster, and a grifter, and a fake billionaire. Okay, let's see. Let's go to 6. Mr. Cardone's claim for defamation by implication suffers from yet another basic but fatal flaw. Pleading this variant of a defamation claim requires the plaintiff to allege that the defendant made certain true statements. But Mr. Cardone, in the most conclusory way possible, alleges that all of Mr. Legere's statements were false. Because Mr. Cardone's complaint recites a soup of more than 40 allegedly defamatory statements, Appendix A matches dismissal grounds with each discrete statement for the court's convenience. But this complexity bespeaks a simple result. None of the alleged statements clear the bar for pleading defamation, and the complaint should be dismissed with prejudice. So since we're just having a little bit of fun here, let's read a little bit more of just the meat and potatoes of this thing here. Grant Cardone and his alleged fame. According to Mr. Cardone, he is internationally renowned as a marketing and branding expert. His renown also allegedly includes being a New York Times bestselling author, a highly acclaimed international speaker, regularly appearing on national television, and maintaining his own television network, Grant Cardone TV. As a self-described business legend, Mr. Cardone attracted recent attention in the media, in the courts, and from regulators for his business practices. For instance, the New Republic published an article about Mr. Cardone called "The Real Estate Hustle Culture Con" that's exploiting investors and wrecking the housing market, identifying Mr. Cardone as a practicing Scientologist who has engaged in dubious investment practices. It also has been reported that the Department of Justice's former most senior fraud prosecutor opined that it looks like Mr. Cardone's business is built on lies and deception. Yikes. In 2022, an investor in Cardone Capital alleged that Mr. Cardone had committed securities fraud, and the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Ninth Circuit held that the investor identified actionable alleged misstatements regarding projected internal rates of return and distributions and debt obligations. That was a mouthful. Okay, let's see. I'm going to jump forward on that one, jump forward on that one. We're going to skip that. We are going to skip that. Oh, yeah. So some of this gives the play-by-play of the Clubhouse chat that is the inspiration for this lawsuit. So let's pick it up right here. Mr. Cardone's allegations focus on a day in or around June 2023, when the parties again participated in a live public chat room on Clubhouse. According to the latter reposting of the Clubhouse debate by unidentified third parties, again, guilty as charged, Mr. Cardone began the debate by accusing Mr. Legere of being an alcoholic. In return, Mr. Legere told Mr. Cardone that he considered Cardone to be the biggest bullshit artist on the planet, because Mr. Cardone talks about being a recovering addict. And if you look at Grant Cardone's social media posts, they're constantly him holding wine and whiskey. Mr. Legere continued by stating that he thinks Mr. Cardone is a con man and that he believes in the next year Grant Cardone will be found guilty of fraud. Mr. Cardone then asked Mr. Legere to specify whether he was contending that Mr. Cardone had been fraudulent to his investors. Mr. Legere declined to opine that Mr. Cardone had defrauded investors, clarifying instead, "I think you're a fake. Somebody that says I used to be an addict, and I think you're a fake. That is my opinion." Mr. Legere then provided another basis for his opinions about Mr. Cardone. He asked Mr. Cardone to confirm that his boasts about being a billionaire were true. Guys, I got to tell you, if you haven't yet seen the video that I posted, and by this time, many other people have posted it, of this conversation in Clubhouse, you have to see it. Grant Cardone, for a guy who goes on so many interviews and news shows and podcasts and everything and claims to be a billionaire, in a little Clubhouse chat room with maybe several hundred viewers, John Legere, again, a famous titan of industry, said, "Grant Cardone, this is your opportunity. Are you a billionaire?" Grant would not say he is a billionaire. It was amazing. It was amazing and embarrassing. And I think John spent like 3 minutes trying to get Grant to just answer the question, "Are you a billionaire? You say you're a billionaire. It's on your LinkedIn profile. It's on your, are you a billionaire?" And Grant wouldn't answer the question. It was amazing. Okay. When Mr. Cardone declined to answer the question, Mr. Legere argued that Mr. Cardone is not a billionaire and is just a big talker and is a fraud. The parties continued to debate whether Mr. Cardone was a billionaire, with Mr. Cardone replying that it would be hard for him to state that. Mr. Legere responded by telling the audience that Mr. Cardone is self-promoting, but doesn't exist in the worlds of CNBC or CNN. The parties turned to discussing Mr. Cardone's membership in the Church of Scientology. Mr. Legere asked Mr. Cardone, this was one of the best parts of the whole chat. Mr. Legere asked Mr. Cardone how much he was paying to the church and if he was the biggest contributor to the church. Now, Grant's not the biggest contributor to the church. The biggest contributor to the church is pharmaceutical executive and billionaire Bob Duggan. Bob Duggan and his ex-wife Trish Duggan have donated at least, at this point, probably $500 million to Scientology. Grant Cardone's donated like maybe closer to the 30 million, 15 to 30 million. But it was amazing to see John press Grant on this in the conversation. Mr. Legere also asked Mr. Cardone whether Mr. Cardone was going to sick the church on him for his opinions about Mr. Cardone. John goes, "Hey, Grant, you going to sick the church on me? I hear they have a history of harassing people. Are you going to sick the church on me?" It was great. Mr. Cardone then returned to discussing Mr. Legere's opinions by asking whether Mr. Legere said in this room that I am fraudulently using funds. Yeah, so Grant tried to get John to overextend himself or to cross a line and say definitively that Grant fraudulently uses investor funds. And John wasn't taking the bait. So we won't read the whole blow by blow of this entire thing here. But let's look at this. Mr. Cardone files this lawsuit after an unidentified third party republishes snippets from the June 2023 Clubhouse debate. The complaint does not allege that there was any public reaction directly from the party's June 2023 Clubhouse debate, nor does it identify any individual who heard that debate. Instead, the complaint alleges that unidentified third parties reposted snippets of the debate on various social media platforms, including YouTube, thereby accumulating millions of viewers. The complaint does not allege who recorded the June 2023 debate or that any of the other debates on Clubhouse were recorded. Do you want to know why it doesn't state who it was? Because Grant Cardone's not allowed to say my name. Say my name, bitch. Grant Cardone is not allowed to say my name. He's not allowed to sue me. He's not allowed to do anything that would give me more attention, press, exposure, or raise my profile in any way. And just like I say that one of the things that protects former Scientologists who put up content on YouTube about Scientology, one of the things that protects them is not only the fact that they're telling the truth, but also the fact that Scientology knows we're telling the truth and could not afford to subject themselves to the process of discovery in a lawsuit. The same is true for Grant Cardone. Grant Cardone can't sue any of these former Scientologists who are talking the truth about him. That's why he actually goes after someone like John Legere. Now, it's a mistake going after someone like John Legere because, when you're talking about picking a fight with someone your own size, John Legere's a bigger than Grant Cardone. I'm not talking physically. I'm talking about whether you want to pick a fight with John Legere. Grant Cardone has picked the wrong fight, but he picks that fight because it's at least a fight he can pick. He cannot sue people like me and other former Scientologists, believe it or not. Okay. On January 11, 2024, Mr. Cardone commenced this suit alleging that Mr. Legere's statements were defamation per se and defamation. I don't want to read those words. He alleges that Mr. Legere's statements have harmed Mr. Cardone and his brand in an amount believed to be no less than $100 million. It's an awfully specific number. Mr. Cardone does not allege any factual basis for the damages he seeks, nor does the complaint distinguish supposed damage from the republication of Mr. Legere's statements from consequences of various media reports and civil litigation accusing Mr. Cardone of fraud. Since he filed this complaint, Mr. Cardone has repeatedly sought to create publicity about the lawsuit through public statements and social media. By contrast, the complaint does not allege that Mr. Legere made any efforts to draw any attention to his opinions about Mr. Cardone. For the purposes of this video, that's all we'll read. But that's a very, very interesting point, the last point that was made here. There is so much content on YouTube and the rest of the internet about Grant Cardone being a fraud, a con man, a grifter, a liar, being investigated by the feds, being sued for fraud. So much content. Like I said, Coffeezilla, one of the biggest content creators, one of the most respected content creators out there, has done like a dozen videos about what a liar, a fraudster, a con man, and a grifter Grant Cardone is. So how could Grant Cardone possibly differentiate between damage done to his brand or his reputation or his name or his business or whatever from all of that content that exists on the internet, differentiate that from damage done by opinions voiced by John Legere in a relatively private Clubhouse chat that was republished by people who were not John Legere? The lawsuit is ridiculous on its face, and I fully expect that this thing will be completely thrown out. And then what you going to do then, Grant? What you going to do then? Because when this thing gets thrown out, I predict there will be no less than like 100 different channels putting out videos such as con man, Grant Cardone, humiliated in defeat, smacked down by John Legere. It's called the Streisand effect, you moron. You can't sue people because they're saying things you don't want. I mean, you can, but it's a mistake because now 100x more people are going to be saying the things that you don't want. All right, let's see. Someone's giving away new memberships, or people are just signing up for new memberships. So let me give you shouts out real quick, guys. Waxed Poetic, welcome. Mile High Hokey, welcome. Shelly Root, welcome. Nona Boss Audits and Investigation, welcome. And Just Do It Zri, welcome. Later this evening, I'll be doing a members only live Q&A. So if you're not a member, consider becoming a member. The live Q&A will be made available to replay for everyone, but for a better live Q&A experience, I'm just going to make it members only. Okay, guys, that's it for now. More to come later tonight and this weekend, guys. David Miscavige is here in Clearwater, Florida, hosting the live event of the celebration of L. Ron Hubbard's birthday, and yours truly, dressed up as Prison Danny Masterson, is going to have to make an appearance. That's happening tomorrow. All right, guys, Thanks for hanging out with me. Thanks, as always, to everyone who watches until the very end. And I'll talk to you soon.
Okay, if you want to see my rock and roll songs, click right on this guitar. And if you want to see a different one of my videos, then you could click right inside here. If you have subscribed or not,